Berkowitz, everybody. David, how's your night going so far?
Oh, it's fantastic. I love this stuff.
South by, it kind of gets into your blood. So David Berkowitz, formerly of 360i, now of MRY. David, what's your new role? What does it look like?
So Chief Marketing Officer. So a lot of it is living and representing the brand, and but also infusing a lot of ideas to the agency, helping forge and further their culture. So it's just fantastic people. I'm really excited there.
David's always been an innovation guy, so I'm really glad that that's a distinct part of your role, because without that, you're not going to be the same.
No, and it's really fun. What's nice now is that since it's not in my title or anything, I can be more proactive about it, and also work with the kinds of accounts that actually really want to do something about it. But I don't have to spend 100% of my day pulling teeth.
So David, we're talking about innovations that are really hot right now. What do you have your eye on for 2014?
Well, one big hot area right now for us is predictive marketing. So it's like, okay, we know about real time, we know it's responsive, but what is also, how do we predict what our consumers' needs are going to be? How do we predict what they're going to be talking about, what they're going to want? And now there are enough of the tools to do so that we could start getting there. And now it's developing that methodology to make it work.
So 1 year from now, when we reconvene at South by Southwest, what's the biggest thing that will have changed?
I think one of the biggest things that will have changed is that wearables will actually be really old hat. It's like, so that now seeing you in a Google Glass headset, it's something a little different. Yeah, I mean, here you're seeing more people than you normally do walking around the street, but it's not something everyone's doing, right? I think next year it's going to be far more about like how many you have, what are they doing for you, how has it changed your behavior, and I think we're going to see more of it just as part of our clothing, as part of our other accessories. I think for women in particular, and those that are very fashion forward, it's going to change, the whole nature of it's going to change quite a bit. We saw Fitbit announce a partnership with Tory Burch at CES. It's a great step, but we're going to see that as both a landmark and a baby step.
So you said the glass word, the G word. I've got to go to that. What do you actually think of glass? Do you think consumers will adopt it? Do you think it's got a totally changed form? What do you think?
I think its best applications are in the business world, at least for the foreseeable future. It's nice. I've got a newborn now. I've been tempted to go and put my glass on and do all the spinning around shots, but then it's not. My iPhone does most of what I'd want glass to do. It's great to experiment with, but for applications like surgeons or engineers, I think that can actually change the nature of how people go about their jobs.
What do you think about the WhatsApp acquisition? Do you think it was worth it? Where do you think the vision is taking us?
Well, I mean, it's such a staggering figure, right? Especially, on one hand, at first it's like, okay, well, Facebook has the money, they should pay, but then when you see it relative to any other kind of startup acquisition, it's such a ridiculous pool of money. But I think Facebook is preparing for this world where Facebook doesn't really matter, at least as a destination. And so once Facebook accepts that people are going to be experiencing its own brand and its own services in ways that have nothing to do with going to facebook.com or the Facebook app, Facebook, I think, is now struggling with this idea that it really is a social utility. It called itself one 5+ years ago. It's always been one, and it's tried denying that, right? It wanted to be that sexy thing. Now it has to say, okay, these other offshoots of it that are built on Facebook, they can be what's really sexy, what consumers love, but Facebook can be what consumers fall back on and what they need.